Welcome to This Is Your Mind on AI. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls me Mercer. You are invited to as well. And here we are going to learn a little thing called latent experience prompting. It is a very different technique to use with AI to help you get substantially better results and experiences from AI. Most of us are trying to use AI to solve problems, so we actually get a bunch of solved problems. But if you think about that, the word problem is always in there. And you always end up getting like a lesser version of the problem. You don't actually tend to get the solved problem. A lot of times with AI, you get a bunch of stuff to think about or things you have to ponder or do, or it just ends up being more work. And you feel like sometimes you're spinning in circles. At least that's been my experience. Instead, what we want to do is we want to use our AI to actually experience a solution, to actually just sort of reveal the thing is that is so obvious that we should be seeing, but we can't see it. So we're going to use this thing, which has connection to every possible knowledge connection that exists in time that humans have produced, at least theoretically at this point. And we're going to ask it, hey, you go to the database and you know all the connections and stuff. Just tell me what to do. Like, I don't want to think about this stuff anymore. I just need to know what to do. I just want to take useful action. That's what we're going to be doing with this prompt. Now, to catch everybody up on where we're going to be doing this. So this is Your Mind on AI. So we've got our 15 subscribers. Thank you very much. That was before kind of the live stream was even starting. So thank you. In here, in the community, is where we're going to be getting ideas. So what I'm going to do is every day, I'm going to start with sort of a brand new way of prompting this. And you're going to see me prompt it as we go through. And then we're going to, as we get it prompted, so you can kind of understand what latent experience prompting is, we're going to then use an example from the community wants. Now, in this case, one of my favorite people ever is Tabitha here. So she is a Lego builder. She likes doing Lego builds and wants to kind of do that. It's a great hobby. She's doing some cool stuff with it and wants to learn AI. And she's tried to use AI to say, like, how do I build a certain thing in Legos? And it just hasn't been useful. Hasn't really been working all that well. So, all right, we got to figure this out. Now, how are we going to do this? I'm going to start with Gemini, and I'm going to start this from scratch because I think it's important that we go from scratch. What I'm going to do is carry over just one little prompt that I have before, so I don't have to type it in. But any of you can do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a Google Doc. And down here, let's just put it in just for now. I will pretty this up later. So I'm going to say it goes in here, and we're going to prompt this. Again, I'll clean that up later, and I will show you how to get access to that doc as well. So I'm just going to pop in. I'm just going to get rid of our little extra stuff that we clearly copied in. There we go. All right, here's our prompt. So what I like to do, what I really want to do here is we're going to make it so that latent experience prompting is something that you get to experience as you are learning it. So every time that we start one of these live streams, we're going to start very quickly with this sort of thing. Eventually, I'm going to stop sort of explaining as I'm doing every time. This one's kind of the first one, so it might be the slowest way of doing this since it's our inaugural run here. But I'm very quickly going to be showing this to you so that you understand how to learn on your own and so that you can learn it on your own, because you can do this with your own AIs. Now, I just point out very quickly, I am using... So this is Your Mind on AI, which is a little demo account. You can absolutely email us there if you want. So that's our public email on YouTube. Just go to This Is Your Mind on AI. You can send all of that. But the real reason that I wanted you to see that is this is a brand new Gmail account. It came up just a couple days ago. I created it. There was no customization at all. We're not using any gems or anything like that. It is not a paid account. I have access to the pro version of stuff, but I'm not going to use it because after a certain point, if you've used that before, there's a token issue and you can kind of get cut off and you have to wait another day. And besides the fact I never wanted to have that happen on a live stream, ask me how I know, is the free version I think is plenty. And that's the whole point, is this thing should be powerful enough. If this is truly what I think it is, and it's truly what hopefully you're going to experience it to be, you don't need a paid account to get usefulness from it. That said, if you want the paid accounts, you can obviously get more, but you won't. Just start with the free version. So I'm going to use the Flash here because I am comfortable with Gemini. But if you use Claude, if you use ChatGPT, it does not matter. Use whatever you want to use. Just use this technique to go through. Now I'm going to explain the prompt that I'm doing here and why I believe it's going to work so well. So what I'm asking it to do here is I'm asking the AI to experience something. Now, I'm using this word experience, and you'll notice it here, you'll notice it here, you'll notice it here, you'll notice it everywhere, right? Experience, 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 experience. The reason I am using that word specifically is because experience in an LLM's database can be associated with two different sides of a coin. First, it can mean experience like I have the experience of driving a car. I know what a steering wheel feels like. I know what the gas pedal does. I have the knowledge and the skills to drive a car, right? Let's say you're a race car. Then there is the experience of actually being a race car driver. So that's the person who actually understands and goes, you know what? I know the nuances of using a race car because I have experience for so long with so much of the same skills and knowledge that other people also have that are race car drivers, but I have different levels of experience with that. So I am a uniquely different race car driver, right? That's the experience of race car driver versus the experience that comes with the knowledge and skills of learning how to drive a car or racing a car. But to the LLM, it doesn't matter. It's experience. So what I like about that word is it lights up. And again, I'm using terms that are not something OpenAI would ever call it, but I just think it's a useful construct. I'm basically going to the AI. And for those of you who really want to go down the rabbit hole, just Google context engineering, because that's all this is. Everybody thinks the LLM has to have all the context, and that's why you're not getting the results from the AI, because you're not good at giving all the context it needs. You should not be giving it context. You don't know what it needs. You're just a human, not networked to this massive database. And that's not a derogatory statement about you. That is just the truth. We're not a machine. So we can't operate and assume that we're going to be able to give the machine instructions in terms of natural language. It doesn't operate like that. So instead, it's less is more. So I'm using experience by saying, I need you to experience this from this perspective, experience this from this perspective, experience this over here, experience this over here. Think about the experience you would need over here. Also think about the experience you would need over here. When I'm doing that, all of a sudden the LLM database goes, and it lights up with the exact right content that is highly likely to be the most useful content for the remainder of the conversation as it so stands. And that's what you're about to see here. So again, I'm using experience for that reason. I use highly likely and usefulness because usefulness is all I care about. I could give a crap about right and wrong. I don't care about right and wrong. What is right today is wrong tomorrow. What is wrong today is right tomorrow. It is irrelevant. That doesn't matter. What matters is useful now or potentially useful for later. So what I'm looking for is anything that is useful now. In its database, I want to see what it now thinks is useful as an experience. And if it's potentially useful, it's not. So I want to kind of get usefulness. I want the highly likely part in there because I'm qualifying it. I'm wanting the AI to qualify and think through, not just anything useful, not just check a box. Oh yeah, it's got some usefulness, check a box. Levels of usefulness, right? That's why the highly likely is there. Now, what I'm asking it to do here is we are co-creating this with AI, this term called latent experience prompting, which never existed until I came up with it and asked AI what it was. Now I want to think through that for a second. This thing was always sitting in the AI's database. It's always going to say the same thing whenever you ask it because this is just how that pattern works. The reason that the skills that I have at AI is because I know to ask for this pattern and now you do too, right? So I'm going to show you what this means. But this latent experience prompting, latent is a word I'm using on purpose because it means sort of inert. It's the stuff that's there that it knows it's there, but I don't know is there. Right? It knows it could be doing more with it, but I don't know it can be doing more with it. It's latent. Experience is just the word experience again, both sides. Knowledge and skills that are latent, or the experience of using those knowledge and skills, think about that, that is latent, that it can then activate. And then the prompting, of course, is just the prompting of how users and AI interact. So what I'm asking it to do is to go through those terms and think that through, but experience it from the perspective of itself, of an LLM. How would it describe the style of prompting? This is because I needed to think through in a certain way. And what I'm doing is I'm asking it to respond back in a pattern that lets me know it gets it and goes, yep, I understand how this is different. And I really want to know that it sees it different from two different prompting styles, right? Because I needed to see, oh, we should definitely not be doing this old way. I need to always think like in this new way. This is the more useful way. So that's what should happen. And then we're going to say, please respond in such a way that I experience the understanding. Now, this is sort of the secret sauce to this, but it's very powerful technique because I don't want knowledge. I don't want cognitive load. I don't want to think about anything. I need the AI to give me a response that just because I interact with it, I go, I get it. That's experience. I don't want to have more stuff to remember or work with or reference for later or have to note down or think through at all. What I want is an experience, a visceral reaction where I go, that makes sense, that's useful, I'm already using it because it's so useful. It's inherent, it just becomes obvious. So hopefully that's what's gonna happen, we'll see. And of course, let's just get the button and we'll see. Okay, so at this point, if this does work, we're going to continue. If it doesn't work, I'm going to show you how to steer it, because again, not everything's going to work the first time. This is why we're doing this live with no net. And again, this is the one I'm probably going to take the longest time explaining this, and then I'll just get in each live stream and start showing you. So essentially what we're trying to do, so internal reality is latent space, high dimensional vector field, where every concept, relationship, tone, and piece of information, emphasize tone. Those of you who are trying to get AI to do copy, this is why it's not working, because you keep trying to tell it tone and it already knows the tone, but we'll come to that later. More examples of that. If you pop them in the community, I will give you examples for those. A piece of information I'm trained on is mapped mathematically, which is true. Similar meanings are placed closer together in the abstract space. Absolutely true. King and queen, man and woman, right? Things are grouped together. This is just how LLMs work. Now, this is the difference. We are not asking for answers. That is what most people do with AI. They try to get answers from it. What I need is semantic contextual catalysm, right? Latent representation as it activates stuff. Subtext, right? See, it's going subtext. What it's already doing is like, oh, I'm supposed to be thinking about the message behind the message, the experience behind the experience, the blind spots, the seeing around corners. Oh, what you really want is the things that you don't know that you want, and you want me to be able to tell you those, but you don't know how to ask for those because you don't know what you want. So you can't tell me what you want. And that's true if you think about it. It's really weird how we've been trying to use AI all these years by going to a thing that we're going to solve a problem with. But if I have the problem, that means I don't know how to solve it. So I'm somehow going to go to AI and pull out a solution by asking for something that's just going to be a better version of something that I already know how to do, but still isn't the solution, because if I had the solution, I would already be using it. All right, so it's a little meta, but hang with me because you'll see this. Now, this is how the LLM, quote unquote, experiences. I'm emphasizing here, the LLM is not experiencing, it is not alive. It is just a way of communicating a pattern back to me that says, yep, I'm with you. I got where you need me to be, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for here. I am not at all looking for the words. I'm looking for the patterns the words are representing. That's all that matters when it comes to AI in general with LLMs. The words are irrelevant. It's the patterns that matter. So here, I've got it going, okay, so we obviously, instead of LEP, defines an experience or state that pushes the input vector far beyond the simplest keyword activation, which is true. Pulls the processing to viewpoint and reasoning structure, so it automatically does that, which is true. Activating latent behaviors, which is true. Latent capabilities, remember we talked about unlocking these things that are sitting there that you don't know how to turn on, because you can't ask it to turn something on that you don't know is there. Or can you? That's what we're doing. That's what latent experience does, because we're basically saying, you turn on the stuff that you need. I don't even care. Like, you know how to operate, you operate. I just need this experience. Make sure this experience is useful. That's it. And then there's the reasoning stuff. Okay, so here's what we're going to describe it. So it's focusing on activity, specific high-level internal state or context with LM, prompts, engineering, navigate the model internal space directly. Sure. Okay, these are the different prompts. Here's how a zero shot might go. Here's how a few shot, might go. Et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm looking for, different ways. So the key difference is from telling the model what to do, which is what everybody does by default. By normally using AI, if you're a normal AI user, meaning you do what anything everyone else does, that's what's happening. You're trying to tell the model what to do. Instead, we want it to become a problem solver for what's going on. Imagine this. Now it's going to start understanding your perspective, where you are, and offering things that you didn't even know you would ask for, because you didn't even know to ask for it. So now we've got a prompt that says, break down the problem in 3 steps. It might say, this is a more useful version of an LEP style prompt, right? So that's kind of what this is saying. It's like, instead of just saying, hey, break down these things, it's do this, right? Okay, so here's where we start tying into examples. Now, the first thing I'm doing, so I'm literally using this technique, right, latent experience prompting, to literally help you create your own latent experience prompting gem. But in this case, I'm going to do an example, because we're going to do it for our Lego builder friend, Tabitha. So what I'm going to do here is, this is one I'm going to mic out a little bit. And I'm going to talk it through. I think I have all the details of this down, because he had sent me some details earlier. And I want to I'm remembering these, so I hope that they work, but let's find out. So if I'm trying to basically prompt, let's say, a Lego build, and I want to make a hot rod engine out of Legos, and I need to keep it to an 8x10 stud in terms of a constraint, just so you know kind of size, how would I traditionally have prompted this? What's the likely response from that prompt? And what's a more useful sort of latent experience prompt style that would actually get me the experience that I'm looking for. Because at the end of the day, I don't necessarily want a laundry list of stuff, but I need the experience to actually understand the solution of how to build this hot rod. And it's very difficult for me to, or the hot rod engine, I should say, but it helps me. It's very difficult for me to sort of visualize and understand all of that as I'm going through. And I want to take kind of like an idea in my head, like this abstract idea, and I want to sort of experience it in this new and interesting way so that I have this build. So at this point, what I would like you to do is I have given you a description of an experience that I am currently experiencing. I did not do the greatest of jobs actually communicating the experience that I'm having, so I need you to go through the description of the experience it as if you were me, and I would like you to provide a response that is highly likely to be the most useful response that I can experience at this point. All right, again, you see experience. You should be noticing how in the beginning I was just sort of talking about Legos, and at the end I was like, I whipped into the experience stuff. And I'm like, okay, now I need you to go back and experience all the stuff I was telling you. I don't know if stuff was right, stuff was wrong. I probably missed a bunch of stuff. I need you to go through there, fill in all the blanks that you think it is, and then respond back as if you were kind of the perfect version of me saying all of this, so that I can understand, are we on the same spot? So we can see if we're connected yet on this. So it goes, all right, metacognitive challenge. I love how it comes up with all these terms. Skip all that stuff that's not useful. Traditional prompt. This is what most people do. Give me a step-by-step instructions for building a V8 hot rod engine out of Lego, constrained to 8x10 stud area, including a parts list. This makes sense. I think this would be useful for AI. Likely response, a laundry list. Start with this, build this, 4x1 round tiles for each side of the cylinders, and it's okay. But think about the experience that you would be having. The response is factually correct. It is cognitively useless. And this has been my experience with AI for so very long, until I started figuring this stuff out. And that is, I would get a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a laundry list, right? A recipe of stuff, and no actual usefulness. Nothing actually got done. It wasn't a solution that I experienced. I experienced work, right? It wasn't useful for me. It was just extra stuff that I was spinning in circles around. A lot more information now to think about. And that's not what Tabitha's using here. She doesn't want a laundry list of stuff, because you can get that by Googling. You can go to a blog and probably get that stuff. It's not what she's looking for. She's trying to create something. But how do you create something with AI when you're trying to say, like, well, I want the recipe for the thing that I don't even know that I want yet? That's what we're doing here. So that's what LEP does, right? This latent experience prompt style. So in this case, we're going to say act as a master Lego microscale, especially a hot rod aesthetic, abstract classic V8 engine block, exhaust headers, blower assembly into an 8x10 spud space. I cannot visualize the solution. Do not give me a step-by-step list. Instead, provide a design language translation, never heard of that before, that breaks the complex abstract concept into core micro techniques and conceptual metaphors, no idea what that means, of each primary engine compartment, so I can experience the aha moment of how to represent it with minimum part count. That is an actual result you can experience from AI. Now, I mentioned this in an earlier part of this live stream that has probably been cut out if you're watching the replay, because for the first 25 minutes I talked to myself because I was on mute. Again, shout out Jeff Anderson. Thank you for being there live, letting me know that. The idea of this is, as we go through this experience, imagine yourself as the Lego builder. Tabitha, I'm guessing, is about to have a pretty cool experience. The rest of us that are maybe not Lego builders, our experience isn't going to be like, oh my gosh, I can do Lego now. Though there might be a little of that for some of us. Maybe we have a little internal Lego builder that's always been waiting there to be activated. But it's an experience of, oh, I see how that is useful for a Lego builder. And so even though you're not a Lego builder, you can start to see how this LEP style of prompting, this latent experience prompting, is very useful for a Lego builder in that case. But it's also just as useful for somebody who wants to create an email series. It's just as useful for somebody who wants to create a new product. It's just as useful for somebody who's trying to create a new crypto blockchain product or coin or service. It's just as useful if you're trying to figure out how to have a better relationship with your kids, your spouse, or your partner. LEP is the thing that I'm showing here. What I'm going to do is, and I was talking to somebody earlier, I think this is a great way of thinking about it. I'm showing you a one-trick pony. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you hundreds and hundreds of different ponies that all know one trick. It's the same thing, right? All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and reveal the experience, see if we get it there. Again, you're either going to have the experience or you're going to have the experience that you can get that somebody else is having a cool experience. So here we are. This is our experience. So imagine we're trying to build this little hot rod V8, its little engine. So we're the Lego builder now, right? This is from our perspective as a Lego builder, from Tabitha's perspective. Welcome. Forget the part list. We're not building an engine. We're translating an experience, the power, the exposed aggression, the chrome gleam into an 8x10 pixel grid. The aha moment is realizing that in microscale, a component's function or shape is less important than its visual signature. So let's talk about the engine block, the core constraint, the abstract concept. It's heavy, dense central mass that holds the V shape. The latent technique, right? This is the background technique there that was sitting there. The 4 wide core and the 8 wide illusion. So now, some of this is speaking Lego. I have no idea what it means because I don't build Lego. I can tell you that I had recently worked with Tabitha on some of the stuff before, just on a side conversation we were having. So I do know kind of what some of this sounds like, and she has validated that this is actually Lego language. Those of you who are builders can chime in and let me know. But basically, it's okay. Forced by the constraint to four studs, a literal block leaves 2 studs of space on either side. Here's the aha moment. The V8 experience is created not by the block, but by the visual noise around the block. Interesting. The block is just a base to attach the defining features. Your 4-stud core allows you to attach headers and cylinder heads laterally to fill the remaining space, achieving the 8-stud width. The body of the engine is a 4x4 brick. The V8 is to feel like it dominates. So it's starting to do now from a Lego builder's perspective. You don't need to know part number, blah, 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 blah. At least not at this level, because you're just trying to figure out how to build this engine. It's an idea in your head. You don't even know what it is yet, and you're trying to craft it. AI is now giving you that experience where you are imagining it. I am not a Lego builder. I can somewhat imagine what this is like. Again, is it a useful experience for me? No. It's potentially useful because I now know if I ever want to build Legos and create stuff out of Legos, I know how to do it, but it's not something I want to do. But Tabitha and other Lego builders, I would sure think would be useful for this. Here's the cylinder heads. So do not use angled bricks. You don't have the space. Instead, use a 1x4 tile attached to a bracket or clip on the side of a 4-card store. The defining visual of the V8 is the split plane of the cylinder heads. Use a 1x4 tile, 1x4 grill tile in silver light, bluish gray. So I would imagine a Lego builder knows what that stuff means, and they go, whatever. Surface snot, I have attached snot. I have no idea what that is. I'm going to assume it's a Lego thing. But it's pretty interesting. The shine of the tile is the chrome valve cover, right? So it's literally giving you how to do the metallic stuff. The supercharger, here's how we do it. The aha moment, simple stack of 1x2 plates or bricks. The belt, represent the belt and pulleys by stacking 2 small round plates at the front and then running a rubber band or thin flexible hose between them. Instantly reads as mechanical detail, anchoring the entire engine's front profile. Again, as a builder of Lego, my guess is you are probably experiencing something going, oh my God, I know what that is. I can see that happening. Because you build Lego, you have the experience already to do it. So what's happening is the AI is giving you its experience that it has in its latent database of experience, right? It's what we just made alive here. Now you as a Lego builder, and this is for Tabitha now I'm talking to, you can actually go through here and create anything that you want with Lego now. We just created this little engine thing, but you can come up with anything and be like, how does this work? And it will go through and it'll help you to take it from this abstract kind of, I'm not quite sure what it could do, to be like, oh man, I can use this part of that part. And my bet is somewhere in here, you're going to be like, you know what? I won't do that, but that gives me an idea. I'm going to use this other thing. And that's where the human stays in the loop and we stay creative and we have this amazing experience. And AI helped us to essentially, and this is again, secret sauce, but what is happening is we're automating our thinking. We're using AI as the machine it was intended to be to help us automate our thinking. Could Tabitha have gone to a mountaintop and meditated for a year on the perfect way to build the most amazing hot rod engine out of Legos? Absolutely yes. She's got the talent, she's got the experience, she just needs the time, effort, and concentration to be able to do it. Absolutely possible. Massive cognitive load to be able to do that. Massive distraction. You can't work all day. You have to just focus on this one problem. None of us have the time, effort, and energy to do that anymore. With AI, we don't need to. We go to AI, we go, hey, help me think this thing through. Here's the experience I have. What experience do you have? Now let's ping that back and forth. And this is the entire idea. As experience kind of goes back and forth with this. So I'm going to continue here for a little bit. We got the 8x10 canvas, density, drama. So all that little fun stuff. I'm going to assume at this point, now it's like, go build the experience, right? Because now you've got something. Now at this point, if this was really well done, from a Lego builder's perspective and had everything that she needed, at this point, she could just go do her thing. If it didn't, she could come back and say, well, I don't have those parts, or I don't want it to do like that. I don't want the V8. I actually want a V6 or whatever it is. And then you then just ask it to re-experience. And you sort of say like, hey, and this is how it would go. I'm not going to do it here because I honestly don't know anything about Lego. And so it wouldn't be useful for me to do it. But I would say something like, well, here's how I'm experiencing the engine block right now. And I would hit my mic or talking to something to get a transcript. And I would say, well, when it comes to this, I kind of get this idea. This totally makes sense. But I was wondering if I could do a 6-stud width or whatever, right? And then I would kind of go through and give my comments. And then I would ask it, hey, go back. That's my experience. Please go back, experience it as me. Add it now to the combined experience. Let's bring the most useful parts of this experience forward. And then show me what is the most useful experience I can now have. And then you just keep doing that over and over. And it will come with its ability to just kind of say like, oh, okay, well, if you want to experience it like that, let's do it. Now, if this is to the end and you're kind of like, all right, I'm now needing parts lists, that's all you would need to do. You say like, cool, let's go ahead and give me the parts. And you can kind of, now you can use it traditionally like most people use AI to pull information from and knowledge from. But the reason it's going to work better is because it's in the database. It's dead set where it needs to be to have that conversation. So you have a lot less hallucination and a whole lot more usefulness coming through. All right. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to level this up. And there is something that I want to keep as a kind of a thing here, which is I personally believe there is no better way to experience what is a shockingly large amount of abundance that is available to us all than AI, using LLMs and AI, specifically, personally, currently, based on using this technique of this latent experience prompting styles and working with your AI in this way. Now, again, I'm going to show other use cases for this that will be a little less, Lego building, and we'll do emails, whatever else you guys want to do is pop it in the community for examples, and then I will pull those out. It does not matter what the example is. Throw me the crazy ones. It's fine. You will see it work. It doesn't matter. So challenge accepted. However, when I'm building it out, I want to create something that is also an experience that not only you would get, but maybe you can share with others as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to work to craft it into a gem that Tabitha can then use. And if she wants, she can share it with other Lego builders. Technically, you can too. So what I'm going to do now is I kind of have it working the way I want it to. And remember, if you don't, you just keep working with it, because to really do this very well, right, you would need to have a little experience doing Lego building so you can see kind of where your particular Lego build might change, right? But right now, I think it's pretty decent at it. It's useful enough for me to be able to give it out for free so that others can use it. So what I would like to do is I'm going to start having this, I'm going to go through a couple other cycles. And again, I'm just kind of see if the patterns are there. I got it to do with a hot rod engine. We're going to do a couple other things just to see if it kind of follows the same pattern. Again, I'm not necessarily looking at the words. I'm looking at the patterns and to see if it is mimicking the same thing over and over again. Once I confirm that pattern is there, I'm going to do that 3 times. Then I'm going to say, cool, we got the pattern. Let's gem it out. Now I can get into a gem. We can share that with the world. All right. And hopefully some future Lego builders can use it. So let's go ahead and make something else up. This is great. In the same way, what if I wasn't trying to do a hot rod engine, but I was trying to do something more complex, like maybe I wanted to do something that was an abstract representation of an AI LLM. How might I do that? How might I experience that as a Lego build? Wildly different. Just made that up out of my head. But I'm very curious what comes in. What I'm looking for is if I throw it that kind of curveball, does it come back in the same basic pattern? It says, cool, I got you. Here's the pattern. Because that's what I need. I need those same patterns. If it comes back with something wildly different, starts talking about some other esoteric thing, I know it's not the same pattern. So again, AI operator is what you're seeing in action here. Not me using AI. I am very aware of what is going on between me and the AI machine right now. Because sometimes you can experience things where it feels too real. You're like, whoa, this thing's like alive. It never is. It's you just doing that. But just like when you drive a car, you hit the gas, you don't go like, whoa, my car's alive because I hit the gas. That's kind of what it's like with AI. You just go like, oh, I prompt it properly so it feels like it's alive. That's how you know it's working. Okay, so instead of the Lego model, include the brain, a computer, and text, it would be something different. Here's a latent experience. This is, oh, by the way, this right here, I could take, in fact, I'm going to, so you can see it. This is, what I was going through is it basically is giving us a likely experience of like, oh, here's kind of what would happen if you did this. So I could actually come through here and I could, if I want, which I'm going to, type it into Gemini and just paste it in. I'm just going to do Flash again. So I could do that. And now I can, oh, here's how I'm going to get my build, right? So now I'm starting with a prompt that I used LEP, right? This latent experience prompting technique to create with AI. I take that prompt. Now I'm right where I need to be, at least I should. So let's kind of see where it goes. Here's our pattern recognition stuff, the emergent connections, fluid generation, not so great. So this one I would change a little bit. In fact, I'm going to, because I'm testing this out. I forgot to test that last time. So this one didn't do exactly what I wanted to. It was kind of what it did, but it's a little not for a builder of an LLM. That's the challenge. It's for me as an AI person. I get this. And actually, no, I take that back. That's exactly what it's doing. Here's the pattern recognition layer. Here's the data ingestion layer. Never mind. I think this might work for a builder because they can say, oh, here's what you're going to do. The only thing is, I would like to experience this. So I'm going to say, please. Okay, so watch how I do this. Again, this is just the regular prompt. I'm going to use LEP. I'm using latent experience prompting, just a different way of doing it here. So as you experience what this build is, please respond in such a way that I experience it specifically from the perspective of a brand new Lego builder who does not have a lot of experience building Legos. In fact, this would be my first Lego build. So I really want to experience this build in the absolute most highly likely useful way. And we'll see how we do. Now, I'm using experience a couple times in there, right? Before I just copied and pasted that prompt. Now I'm trying to steer the AI. So this is me kind of steering it, saying, well, it kind of gave me this stuff, which at first I thought isn't useful because it's like data. But then I was like, oh, no, I see what it's doing. It's saying, oh, here's how you can do the LLM function of this. Here's how you can do the LLM function of this. You're going to make it look like this. And here's kind of how you're experiencing it. So it kind of broke it into pattern that way. I'm okay with that. But now it's actually an experience. Welcome to the first build. Here's what we're going to do. And this is interesting. So I can say sensation is going to feel tedious and slightly chaotic. That's going to make sense for a new builder because it does. The pieces are so small, they're hard to handle. They all look different. This feeling of overwhelming unsorted complexity is the data. Now, again, this is speaking more toward me because I'm tying in with AI here, right? And it knows that I've got some AI experience because I've told it AI LLM. So it's going to assume some knowledge there. So it's going to use words that maybe you would never want to use, but you're probably not going to try to build an LLM out of Legos either. So this conversation very much is an experience for me. Because going into this, I already am expecting to be overwhelmed by all these stupid little Lego pieces and not really know what to do. That's right. That's how it's supposed to be. That's the experience. And the reason that is powerful is because I have already experienced that without having already done it. So I am more likely now to do it. Follow me with this logic. The fact that I do not have Legos in front of me now doesn't mean I will never have Legos in front of me. I am substantially more likely to now have Legos in front of me because I'm already experiencing how I'm going to have a bunch of Legos in front of me. There's going to be some chaos. I'm not going to be feeling great about it, but that's how I know it's working, right? That's the data. That's the signal. It's like, okay, cool. It's going to be creating a solid foundation. It's inherently messy. I'll have the carpet of noise. That's okay. So now it's not so overwhelming, this idea of Lego building. Now, am I going to go do Lego building? No, because AI cannot manipulate you. I don't have a desire to build Legos, at least not right now. If and when I do, I absolutely will. So again, AI is not controlling me here. It's not manipulating me, but it has given me an opportunity to experience more if I wanted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back into the other one. So here's the highly likely response. It kind of gives us our patterns. And it did kind of say, here's what the pattern recognition, and it's going to be the emergent connections. So it did kind of break it into 4 different concepts. There's the aha moment. It's about the queries process. You activate the emergent connection, slide or push several one-by-one printed tiles with letters or symbols smoothly down the incline. So now it's kind of, so it's actually like a 3D model of stuff, which is kind of interesting. That looks like it's building. So I'm okay kind of in the direction of this. And now what I would like to do is, now again, because I built a thought process, which was really hard. That was a super abstract one to do. Let's make something a little easier. I'd like to make a garden, but have a garden that's kind of like a Japanese garden style. How would I build like a Japanese garden out of Legos? And what I really, really want you to do in this particular case is to experience that garden itself from my perspective, from the creator of somebody who used Legos to actually build that. And what I want to know and experience is the actual experience that you are highly likely to be experiencing right now, as if you were me having gone through and built this. In particular, know that I have very little experience when it comes to building Legos. So I want to experience the highly likely most useful experience that I can experience at this moment. Please respond to make sure that experience is achieved. Again, does it matter all these words that I said? No, but yes. Because it's not the specific words. It's not me saying, oh, experience it as if it was achieved. That matters. This is not the secret sauce. It's saying the word experience over and over again, relating to different areas in the LLM, so I can get it to pop up the context that should be in that area, so it shows me something new, shows me something that I didn't even know I should be thinking about or pondering, that I didn't even know was possible. That is when I get the experience and I go, oh, that's useful. I can do that. Again, we're thinking from a Lego builder's perspective here. Okay, so 3, latent space associated with Japanese garden principles. So it's already thinking about how to build a Japanese garden. The micro scale construction, textures, forms, negative spaces within bricks. Didn't even know to ask for that. The novice builder's journey, at least I did tell it that, a little bit of context I gave it, which will talk about frustrations and surprising discoveries. Cool. So here we go. This is a new Lego building experience for somebody who is very new, myself here, as Lego. So the base sits before me, 8x10 canvas, a dark gray, start with slight trepidation, having little experience. The hot rod engine was a different beast, all the angles and parts. This is about a feeling, which is true. Japanese garden, I would imagine, is. So the Zen rake in the sand. I remember the first instruction, 10 tiles for the sand. Not just flat ones, but a mixture of 1x1, 1x2, 2x2. So now I'm already getting the recipe. It's giving me the recipe without giving me a list of stuff. It's like, oh yeah, subtle texture. You're doing different pieces. I can see what that's like, and I don't know how to do Lego, but I can already start to experience kind of what it's doing here. Oh, the rake lines aren't literal lines. They're the impression of a rake. The negative space is just important to the piece itself. I can see what it's doing, and I'm like, whoa, imagine the level of detail I can do with Lego. That's pretty cool. Right? It wasn't about replication. It was about a feeling. It was about that texture that I was able to create. I didn't know you could do that with Lego. Quite literally, I'm experiencing that now. That's a new experience for me. Lego should sponsor this episode. Hi, Lego. Okay, so the stone lantern, imperfection is beauty. Then the stone lantern, these little Japanese gardens have stone lanterns. It wasn't the perfect lantern. It was a couple of dark gray, one plant stacked with one by brick, and a small dark gray cone on top. No intricate carvings. It's not about making it realistic. It's about making the dark gray that it's enough. The round edges and visible studs don't detract. They add the stone feel. I noticed the tiny imperfections, the exposed studs. They realized they contributed to the beauty of the imperfection. Awesome. Water feature. The white plate isn't a lily or specific flower. It's a single point of visual focus, breaking the monotony of the blue. This is the translucent plates here. So again, I'm getting a recipe. I'm sort of understanding. And if I don't have those parts, I am sure I can go find those parts now. There are lots of Lego groups out there that I have learned that will do that will help you out with that stuff. So now I can really create anything I want. And I kind of am 3 for 3 in the way that I'm doing it. And I can see that I can ramp it up in terms of experience, in terms of what I'm looking at, in terms of how it's working with me to help me actually start taking action on this. If I had Legos right now in front of me, I would already be building because I would know what to do. And that's the beauty of this. If you had emails to get out and you were using this technique to get the emails out, you would already be doing it, because you would already have the emails. You would already have the experience you need. You would already go like, oh, I got the perfect hook. I got the perfect angle. You'd already know what it would be because you would have experienced it. Not from your perspective, from your customer's perspective, from that person's perspective. You would see that and be like, oh my God, they're going to love this. So why would you not provide it to them, right? What I'm doing is I'm providing an experience for me, for sure. I'm also simultaneously, hopefully, providing an experience for you. Either you see it as, wow, that's really cool that they're able to do that with Lego builders. I wonder what else I can do with this email he keeps talking about. I can't wait to put that in the community so that he will bring it up as an example on a future live stream, along with anything else you want. Or you're the Lego builder end of this going, man, this is super cool. I get it. I can do some cool stuff, right? Either or. So either way, I'm 3 for 3. Now it's time to turn it into a gem. So what I'm going to do is to do that. And I personally like this. If you didn't like the tone of this, you would just steer it. Just say, again, this is for me because I don't care about the words. I care about the patterns. I don't get caught up in how it says stuff, just kind of what it's saying. But when I look back at this, I'm like, yeah, this is an experience that actually helps me out. If it didn't, I would steer it and say, well, I would never use this. In my experience, it would be maybe more like this. And then I would have it re-experience and come back and it would adjust, right? In this case, I'm going to make it kind of where it is. So I'm going to say, I would like you to experience everything that we have experienced in this conversation, start to finish. knowing that ultimately what we are experiencing together are the instructions, the most useful possible instructions that use the concepts of latent experience prompting specifically to create instructions for a Gemini gem such that when a end user is using this Gemini gem, they can put in there anything that they are trying to build with Legos, and the instructions will actually walk through what they are trying to do. It will experience it, and it will respond back in an experiential way so that the Lego builder can actually start building, because they have the experience of building at this point. They're actually experiencing building the thing that they are trying to build. So this is going to be the gem that should be able to do that, to help them pull these weird little ideas that they have and make them more concrete as experiences. And it should also be able to help them out with additional resources that Lego builders might need, maybe some part information or some additional details. Again, whatever would be highly likely to offer a Lego builder, somebody who's new and somebody who's been around for a while in that space, whatever they feel would, or most likely are going to feel, is the most likely, highly likely useful information and experiences that they would need. I want to be very clear on this. I am describing what I would like this gem to do, but I am not necessarily the end user of this gem. So we need to experience it as the end user, which is of course our Lego builder. They're going to be using the gems, but we want to make sure that LEP is put in place so that latent experience prompting is being used, so the Lego builder is highly likely to actually experience the solution that they are trying to experience with their Lego build in the most useful way they can. Now, in there, I did mention instructions. I didn't necessarily say, please let me see these instructions now. So let's just see what we get. So here's our meta prompt instructions. This is how we're going to build our gem. So now I'm going to go through Gemini Gem, Latent Builder, this prompt designed around the entire session. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's just see user experience. So this is just kind of the what it thinks is the thing. I'm going to skip past this for now. What I care about is what it thinks is going to happen. So build a small chaotic jazz band playing a fast song, should be 6 by 16 bass plates. So somebody can start with something this simple, and what should happen is it says, okay, we're going to translate fast jazz into brick. Here's the initial abstraction. The rhythm is off beat. Your bricks must be off grid using jumper plates, bracket plates. Okay, this is the part where I'm going to assume this means something to all of you in Lego World. And that is super cool. And if there are those of you in Lego World, share this with other people in Lego World. Let me know how it works, because that would be super cool. Share, post pictures in the community. That would be neat. Show how you actually build some stuff with this. Because I've never heard, I don't know what a cheese slope is. That's so cool. Okay, anyway, I'm going to skip past that. I'm pretty sure this is pretty decent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to ask it. Now, this is just how I build gems. So I'm going to say, please provide the prompt. So I'm going to say the gem instructions is typically what they are in a markdown box. And the reason I'm going to do this, so it can be copy and pasted, because we're going to build our gem. So I don't want to accidentally take anything out of whatever that middle part was. Sometimes you can capture symbols and all this other stuff. And when you put it in a markdown box, again, specifically Gemini, when we do that, I automatically get what I need from it. It's automatically set up what they call markdown. There's a certain structure in here. These little, hashtags, the asterisks, the way those are handled by AI structures it. It is important. So I don't want to just copy and paste a bunch of text. I need to copy and paste the text in a specific format. That is what this is. So this is what they call markdown. So anything you see like that. So what I'm going to do then is we're going to go and create our new gem. So all we do to do that, we're going to go into Explore Gems. We're going to go to New Gem, and then we're going to paste it in. So we've got that. Here's our Gemini Gem Latent Builder. I'm going to paste that in the title here. So, and we're going to take, this is going to be our Lego Builder. I mean, I have to kind of do that, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You can always create your own. This is the point of this. I know I'm putting the website on there just because I need people to hear what this message is from. And I want them to see where you get it. but you can all go create your own because I literally just did it from scratch using the free tools. So you can create your own, and it'll be pretty close to what this is anyway, because you can see how it's done. And if you need help, pop in the community. I'll help you out. Okay, so let me pull this back in. So now let me just get my face out of the way and click on save. Always make sure it is saving and then gem save. We're going to start a chat. And now what I'm going to do to test it is I'm going to grab its example, which is this one. Remember, it said, oh, here's kind of what we're trying to do. We're going to build a small, chaotic, but beautiful model of a jazz band playing a fast song. So somehow we're going to Lego a fast song versus, I guess, another type of song. Cool. So now I'm using the gem. Now this is what it should have done, right? This kind of saying, hey, this is how the gem should work, and this is what should happen. You get your parts, you've got your, the ways of building it. And a Lego builder, I would imagine, is going to get some usefulness out of that. So now we're going to test it. So now this is the gem. So we're going to copy this. We're going to paste this in. Present a fantastic challenge, translating dynamic, rhythmic energy. Here's phase 1. There's conceptual, the LEP core. Okay, so structure itself vibrates using jumper plates and brackets to position the 3 or 4 figures and instruments slightly off the main grid lines, creates the visual staccato that makes the whole scene feel unstable and alive. Jitter. That's how you get movement. Barring clip flow, micro detailing and clumping. Okay, all this cool stuff. Here's how it's coming through, so you have a little bit more of a recipe. That's useful. Stud's not on top, so snot does mean something in Lego world. Okay, that's good, because I saw that a lot. Do not build a figure instrument yet. Achieve the visual sensation of rhythm and flow first. Once the base plate looks itself, it's vibrating, the moves are defined, the figure has simply become anchor for the chaos. Perfect. So at this point, now you can have a conversation about, oh, I'm out of this part, or what do I use in this instead? Because now it's really focused on your build. But it was for that from the very start. So what I'm going to do is for those that are here, so I'm going to go to Explore Gems. I'm going to share this one, and we're going to make that public. Once that pulls up, so we're going to make anyone with a link can view. So we're going to copy that link, and I'm going to put it in the chat so that anybody here can go build Lego stuff. So we can have this in the chat room itself. I'll also put it in the community, and I am also going to put it in here. So this is our document. By the way, how do you get to this document? This is your mind on AI.com. We'll take you to wherever you need to go. So I will redirect that wherever it needs to go. Just always go to the main domain. This is your mind on AI.com. It'll take you right here, and you can go grab everything. So I will pretty this up after this live stream is done. I'm going to go and hang out with some of my friends for a little bit. Wrap this up here, and then I'll pretty this up a little bit later on, but just go to thisisyourmindonai.com. You'll be able to see all the links to everything. And then any questions you have, pop them in the community. If you want me to do other examples, pop them in the community. The more context you give me, the better, but it doesn't have to be. You can just give me little things like what Tapith was doing back there, because you can see what we can do with Legos. Imagine what we could do with other things that we want to solve for. And there are going to be some things that I want to solve for, because I'm going to be taking some wild, wild swings with what is possible using this with AI. And ideally helping to create experiences and solve problems for actually offer solutions as experiences in areas that I have no earthly reason or capability to be able to do, but still will. And I know that's cryptic, but that's why you got to keep watching. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope it was at least useful. Welcome again to our, thanks for getting our first inaugural episode kicked off. For those of you that managed to stay for the first 25 minutes as I was on mute the entire time, thank you for being there. For the rest of you who are wondering, wait, I didn't see that, it's because I edited it out. And that was just the one gift I have an experience that all of us that were there live for the very first one get to share. And I'm sure there'll be other opportunities though, because I'm probably going to do that again. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks y'all. And I'm going to keep these streams. I'm going to keep a schedule going in. So expect that over the next probably couple of days, so that you can see kind of what the live streams are. And if I get the more experiences that I get kind of in the community where people want to go with it, I'm going to start putting those in there. So at that point, then you can start seeing when your experience is, if there's something more relevant to you that you want to show up for. And again, I'm just going to help out as many people as I can as we're doing it. So if this was useful, share it with others. That's the other thing I would recommend. If you want to use these techniques and call them your own, go for it. I don't really care. It would be awesome if you share kind of where this came from, and you can sort of then iterate it from there and be like, hey, there's original technique, and then iterate it, make something your own. Use AI to do it. Awesome. Have fun with it. I encourage you to do it. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you on the next live stream. Take care.